Breaking news, turmoil in Skokie. A water main break floods streets and forces stores, restaurants, and schools to close. Progress on stopping the flow. The impact to residents. We're talking to homeowners as they face the aftermath.
Trying to get the water level down as best we can.
And a blast of winter for the weekend.
Snow moving in from the west right now. It will be widespread for the evening hours. The new projections on how much snow we're expecting tonight and also through Sunday.
Great to have you with us. We start here at 6 with breaking news in Skokie. Tonight we are being told the water levels are going down a bit after a water main break, but a boil order remains, meaning the water might not be safe to drink. Plus, homeowners are left with an icy mess, and the freezing weather is not helping. The water main break happened about 5:15 this morning here near East Prairie and Emerson. Water backed up on surrounding streets for blocks, and even more people lost their water service, which triggered schools and businesses to close down. Almost 70,000 people are affected by the water main break. We do have team coverage of the break as well as its effect on the community, starting with Noel Brennan, who spent the day with homeowners inundated with floodwaters.
Well, Joe, thankfully, streets once coated and caked in a thick layer of ice have been cleared, just like this one. Late this afternoon, they brought in some heavy construction equipment to clear this street, but many homeowners are still dealing with flooded basements and garages.
The city has got some drains clear, and we're kind of trying to do the smaller ones.
In Skokie, the public is working alongside Public Works.
Yeah, it's ice.
We're trying to get the water level down as best we can.
Keith Chrisinat and his neighbors helped to unclog backed up drains just a couple blocks from the spot where a large water main broke.
So our house is on the corner of Bennett and Lake, and now everything's completely flooded.
The break sent icy water cascading down streets, making them impassable for cars and anyone without waterproof footwear or a creative alternative.
It's the alley and our backyards that have been hit the worst. It's kind of to the top of my boot, almost a little over.
Never seen it this way. Never, never.
Some homeowners
never imagined it will get this bad.
Have floodwater flirting with their front steps. But near Lyons and Ewing,
first time this ever happened.
Front yards, backyards, and alleys are frozen solid.
We have a pool in our backyard now. So it's an ice pool, but at least we could go ice skating later on tonight.
Andy Leroy.
We've been here for 50 years.
Grew up in this house.
The basement is flooded, and that's where we live.
It's the first time he's woken to water pouring through his basement window.
It sounded like someone had a faucet running.
He says he has an inch or two of water inside.
And keep your weight over your feet.
Next door.
So if you walk in front, you might slip.
Chris DiNardo finds about 8 inches of flooding in his garage.
So now the strategy is prepare for things like this to continue happening.
Pretty much the whole neighborhood's out working right now.
Helping to clear drains is about all they can do. Otherwise, a frozen neighborhood feels pretty helpless.
It's kind of depressing, but nothing you could do. Thank God we're alive, and thank God we still have power and stuff like that.
Neighbors here are concerned about temperatures dropping tonight and what that will mean for their frozen front yards. They're likely going to stay frozen for quite some time. Folks out here, of course, are also dealing with that boil order, which will remain in effect until at least Saturday afternoon. Reporting live in Skokie, Noel Brennan, CBS News Chicago. Joe?
Those pictures are something. Noel, thanks very much. And we do have more now on that boil order. It's in place for thousands of people in and around the water main break. Our Tara Molina has more on the impact and what may have caused the problem.
We know more than 67,000 people in Skokie alone are impacted by this break heading into tonight. Officials calling this unprecedented.
It is a transmission-sized main.
Skokie's mayor and municipality leaders addressing questions and concerns this afternoon following the water main break this morning. Thousands here impacted.
We understand that some homes or businesses that have steam heat might have trouble with those heating systems.
I asked officials a question we know is top of mind for so many here right now. Who bears responsibility here when it comes to paying for car and home damage?
Folks should work first with their insurance provider because we don't know the particulars of those coverages and those circumstances. But then beyond that, the village has a risk management division, so the village then will respond accordingly to whatever insurance determination is made.
Officials say they do not know if the emergency repair public works crews were making to a break in the area yesterday afternoon was connected to this one.
There was a leak of some more minor type going on that we weren't successful in locating last night in the middle of the night.
Those crews at work until 2 a.m., just hours before this break was discovered.
They certainly didn't leave the scene with the water event that we found ourselves confronting this morning. So I wouldn't expect that there's any correlation.
It's not just homes, businesses, and schools. With the water main break impacting operations, Endeavor Health canceled appointments here in Skokie and Evanston today. They confirmed their emergency department is sending ambulances to other facilities. A spokesperson telling me their focus is on patient safety. The Red Cross is here right now helping those in need of shelter heading into tonight. Of course, we'll continue to bring you the very latest. Reporting outside the Skokie Police Department, I'm Tara Molina, CBS News Chicago Investigators.
Here's another way firefighters are pitching in. Our Skywatch camera caught them delivering water to homes. Again, tens of thousands of residents are under a boil order tonight. Let's bring in Chris Habermill to see how all this continues to impact that area. Chris?
Wow, Joe, what a month this day has been for residents in Skokie there. As you can see from Skywatch, we had a front row seat to a lot of water on a lot of streets, and it carried off from the break right here at East Prairie and Emerson on southward. And that's where everything began, where that large piece of equipment is at. That is where that equipment is parked. They're going to be working all night. This is where the water went, cascading south all the way down, but not including Dempster. These are the closures right now. McCormick Boulevard from Golf to Church and that part of East Prairie and Emerson that is being excavated. This is where the affected area is. Look at where the main break is. And Westfield Old Orchard is closed. The Skokie Public Library is closed. And area schools, they went to a shortened day, went to e-learning, or rescheduled the events that they had for this evening. So a wide effect, wide-ranging away from that break. Chris Habermill, CBS News, Chicago.
Chris, thanks very much. We have a live look at the area from the ground now. The freezing temperatures are playing a big role in the aftermath of this water main break, with water turning to slush and then freezing on the streets. Let's go to meteorologists Albert Ramon and David Yeomans for the weather perspective on all this, guys.
Well, Joe, thanks. And Albert and I were just talking, how much easier would this be for folks with ice in their basements if it were just going to be really warm for the next few days?
No, we have a temperature crash actually in the forecast. We're going to talk snow that's coming in just a few minutes with David, but let me share where we are right now in Skokie. It's in the low 20s. We're talking about a freeze tonight. We're talking about most of tomorrow at or below freezing. There's about a 3-hour period tomorrow, 1 o'clock to about 4 p.m. of going just above freezing, so a little bit of melting, that's it. And then the temperatures crash as we head towards your Sunday afternoon. Look at this, single digits are in the forecast for your Monday and Tuesday. We only make it to about 10 degrees middle part of the week. Okay, we've got snow moving on in. We'll turn on the big map. We'll turn on the live radar. We'll bring in David. And David, the snow advancing, moving from west to east, going to get snowy tonight.
That's a great perspective of it. We're getting reports of snow and blowing snow from DeKalb to just southwest of Streeter. Let's take off the current radar and put up the future weather model. This moves into Chicago in earnest by about 7:30. Several hours of heavy blowing snow will interfere with some Valentine's Day plans. And this is not the last of it. Albert Ramon will walk you through a snowy weekend and how much to expect next.
David, thanks. We'll see you guys in a minute. With the sunlight gone and temperatures dropping, there are major concerns for people living near that Skokie break. Let's go to Sarah Mackey. She's at the site now with more on where things stand. Sarah, so have they pinpointed, I'm guessing, where this happened, right? Have they been able to shut the water off?
Well, when we checked in last with crews out here, they said they hadn't been able to cut it. A lot of people did lose their water first thing this morning because of that. And you did also just mention those dropping temperatures. I want to show you, this is what they're worried about. Things out here are starting to get a little bit more solid, turning into ice with the temperatures dropping, Joe. They have been making a lot of progress. And behind us, you can see the major excavator that they have moved in to do some of the work that Chris Habermill was talking about overnight. You heard that city leaders called this unprecedented. Well, neighbors told us that it is unbelievable. This morning, water did stretch several blocks in every direction from where we're standing. By about 10 o'clock, some of it was receding from the edges. You could see drains that had been previously covered, and left behind was the slush and the ice. Major concerns, as we talked about, with the temperatures dropping. We saw crews working with shovels and with plows to get as much of it off the roads as they could, as neighbors were checking on their own property.
Well, we never expected to get lakefront property for Valentine's Day. It's flooded up to my knees. The house thankfully doesn't have any water in the basement, but the garage is fully flooded.
It was over the wheels when I came out. I was parked right there and it was over the wheels, so I thought, let me move it, you know.
It is hard to see from this far away, but it does look like we have a little bit of moving water behind us, which means some of it is still coming out of that main. When we've been talking with officials, they say it is still way too early to know when the water will be fully restored and when this will be completely fixed. From Skokie, Sarah Maki, CBS News Chicago.
Big job ahead for sure. Sarah, thank you very much.